When you think of a female influencer, right, you just kind of think of...
I think family is the biggest sacrifice.
I mean, now I've done a total of 4 surgeries over 10 years.
Introduce yourselves to each other, name, age, what are you currently doing?
My name's Kirstie Gannaway. I've been a professional fighter for the last 10 years, but more recently I've taken a role in a wellness and health gym. So yeah.
You're so cool. Hi, I'm Ruru. I'm 25 and I make unserious videos online and I'm a social media creator.
Yes. I think that's cool.
I'm Janice Wong. I am a chocolatier and an artist. I have a few retail shops in Singapore, a couple of dessert bars in Singapore and Sydney. I paint for chocolate, go around the world and create exhibitions and food art.
The 2 a.m. dessert bar. Yes.
Bar, yeah.
I've been.
Thank you.
So cool.
Okay, next. How do you think society's perception of women has evolved over the years, particularly in your respective fields?
I mean, by nature, the industry that I'm in, it's quite male-dominated. In fighting in particular, it's something that has changed a lot over the last 10 years. I feel like there's more of a spotlight on women and a lot of people are making an effort to respect the roles of women and what they're capable of doing too. It's changed a lot for the better and I feel from here it's only going up, which is great, but there are still a few more things and a little bit more of a way to go in terms of equal rights for women. But the change has been significant in the last 10 years.
I started off as a cosplayer, so like in cosplay, I think people tend to associate cosplays with like sexy, sex selling or whatever. But I think that people have acknowledged that it's an art form now because there's so many amazing cosplays with like SFX edits, video edits with cosplayers, and then with like my social media kind of like influencer job. When you think of a female influencer, right, you just kind of think of, you know, but I think these days there's so much more different kind of like creators. There's like, you know, comedy, people who do like food content.
Right.
There's so many different type of creators these days. So I think
for sure.
Definitely, I think it's gotten for the better too.
Yeah.
I think in the last few years there were a lot of female Asian chefs that came up, Singapore chefs, you know.
Yeah.
But someone asked me yesterday, you know, of a few female local chef names, and there were just so few. So I think it's actually even worse these days for us, but we can only look forward and keep inspiring.
That's true, and that being said, I just realized when I say this, I speak more on like an international level because in terms of the fighting scene in Singapore, like for professional anyways, it is difficult. And there's times when it feels like it's dying down. And I'm kind of crossing my fingers there's some young girls somewhere who are like, no, I'm gonna do this, screw it, you know what I mean?
I'm signing up to be an MMA fighter tomorrow.
I'm gonna train you.
Let's go.
Let's go. 6 a.m., 10 kilometers.
I think for myself, the culinary discipline, I think it's very male dominated.
Surprisingly,
and it still is. So over the last years, they've created, you know, a lot of awards and women awards, you know, like best female chef, which the goal ultimately is to eliminate that completely.
Right.
But it has definitely helped to really showcase a lot of these women around Asia. And tell the stories, you know, get them more featured, and then more get inspired. So the gap is bridging, but you know, I still see it as like even 90% of the kitchen is still male dominated.
Right, I understand where you're coming from. Like you want to like just have it like the best chefs and the best chocolatiers. Is that right? Do you call it a chocolatier?
Yeah.
Okay, and pastry chefs. Yes.
It's like they made it just because women were screaming about it.
Well,
like,
yeah, exactly. And I think it's a start. And I'm not sure about for you two, but I don't remember having any bad experiences with guys. I feel they've all been so supportive, at least the ones around me. And if anything, in some scenarios recently where they even get more excited when there's a girl in the industry and they want to help you even more because they feel like, whoa, this is like, it's so cool that someone's pursuing that and trying to do that. So that's nice. What advantages do men have that you don't have in your respective fields and how do you make up for it? Okay, well, I wouldn't want to turn it into a trash talk of men. And usually with this men and women thing, I mean, the reality is, again, because of like a lot of circumstances in history, it's been difficult for women to step up. I'm answering my own question. It's like so rude. So feel in to jump in if you have to.
Yes, of course. Yes.
But I feel like it's more, again, I just try to look at like men and women, our strengths, our weaknesses, and hopefully moving forward is something we can like encourage where we just respect those things more as opposed to comparing ourselves to each other. Because I feel there's so much comparison to male and female athletes. Like females want to do what the men can do, and you know what I mean? And it's like, it's nice to have the goals, but we're different.
Yeah, I think for me wise, it's a lot to do with business things. It's like I'm young, that's one thing, but I'm also a little girl in like the business world. It's very difficult to ask grown men to listen to me.
Right.
Like as much as they will respect me for like my achievements and stuff, but I'm not saying most of them, but like I have like experienced like slightly like condescending tones or like you're just like
Yeah.
like that kind, like
Yeah.
I don't think that's very nice. And actually that was one of the reasons, like you say, you know, we recognize the strengths and weaknesses. So actually the first business move that I did was hire a male manager.
Yeah.
Because I realized I cannot do the pitches myself because they would not listen to me.
Right.
And secondly is that I realized that even stronger when I go to events and like for example you're the client and like this is me and this is the manager. Like despite me speaking to the client like in my own expertise in my own field, like the client still prefer to talk to
Right. They'll kind
another
of
male,
they'll
maybe.
disregard your presence, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I do think that, but of course, you know, you gotta do what you gotta have to do.
Yeah.
That's why it was a good move that
For
I
sure.
chose a male like manager for starters, and I think it did help in a lot of business sense just by having like a man speak for you
For
in
sure.
a sense. Yeah, it's always kind of like that. It's pros and cons.
I think women are just extremely great at multitasking.
Oh yeah.
That's like the one thing I realized over the years, and we use it to our strengths, right? I mean, I've known a lot of career moms, you know, and they have to juggle everything, and it's just an incredible, super mom and super at work, you know, and to see that, it's really incredible because, you know, you have to take care of your body after that, you get back into work. You have kids to look after,
Yeah.
you know, you have to breastfeed. I mean, it's just a
No,
whole
for
slew
sure.
of
Hands.
things, right?
So
Right, but it takes you 9 months to carry a baby. I would imagine the minimum to recover would be 9 months. No? Minimum.
Yes.
And it's like, man, it's a big emotional stress, a big physical stress for the partner as well. So it's a lot.
I feel like women are very good also with time management. Just because we have so much to do.
Yeah.
If you also have to juggle family and doing that, you just fill your time very wisely and you get everything done still.
Yeah. You
That's
just
why-
find a way.
That's
you
why
find a way.
I just get a cat. My
Cat
little
lover.
kitty cat.
Are we all team cat?
Team cat.
Janice will reel you
Get
in. I already have a cat
me
video
too.
group. I have like 2 cat video groups.
Cat
could
video
join
groups,
one.
can I join them?
We spam each other all day. For sure. Was there anything you had to sacrifice to get where you are now? Big question.
For sure.
Sacrifice. I guess my youth.
Yeah, you feel, how do you feel like you sacrificed your youth?
I feel like a lot of my friends are not in the same field. Of course, I make new friends and stuff. I don't feel like it's not really. I would say sacrifice. It's like a huge like thing. I would say like I spent most of my early adulthood like just working.
For you, it's all that training and time. I mean, I used to be a professional sports person.
Oh, really?
Oh my
what
God.
did you do?
I can understand. I played squash.
Oh, wow.
But you know,
Oh my
we were
God.
training like 11 times a
Yeah.
week, and it was
Oh, it's
brutal.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
A lot of sacrifices. You don't get time off to drink with friends, parties,
Yeah.
nothing, none of that. You're
Yeah.
in the gym
Yeah.
and you're training. But now, as a professional chef, artist, growing the business as well, I think family is the biggest sacrifice
Yeah.
because you dive so much into your own passion and your work that you got to put in time for that. And so I made the conscious decision not to, you know, have babies at my 30s, and my babies are like my cafes and my bars, but it
Yeah.
was a conscious decision
Yeah.
to do that,
Yeah.
to grow the business. Also because then you can really allocate the time that you believe
Yeah.
that part of you will grow and continue to inspire people.
Yeah.
And so I would say that's one of the conscious sacrifices I made.
Yeah, I mean, for me, passion drove the decision, but I feel ultimately too, I would say it was a sacrifice of my health, because it did put my health in jeopardy a lot of the times. I mean, now I've done a total of 4 surgeries over 10 years.
Oh my God.
And under that, I mean, I've learned more recently about pre-existing health conditions which impaired hormone levels and had a lot of other effects, and it's like, yeah, it changed a lot. And if anything, I feel like that's what fatigued me from the whole process of doing things, because I guess I got away with it when I was younger and I was just so driven to reach a goal. I didn't mind putting health second, but now it's my top priority.
When I was doing like a really big event last year, it seems really glamorous outside, but every single day I was on the call with my designer crying, telling him that I cannot do this right now. You have to help me, like please help me. I can't do this. I can't do this by myself. There was just so much emotions wrapped up because I was so stressed because I made a decision to do something. Like it's a conscious decision to do something nice or like crazy. But what comes behind is usually just immense amount of stress that just cannot be explained with words. And it was like a one-man team, like a two-man team, me and my designer. And we realized like with everyone, we're trying our best. I was really losing my oh my God.
And did you do it? Did you get through?
Yes, we got through.
Was it good?
It was good.
Are you proud of it?
But yes.
And that's the motivation for the next one.
I told myself after that, I'm never doing this again. I'm never doing this again.
Trust
Guess
me, it
I'm
gets
already-
easier.
Yeah.
It gets easier.
It does, but also like, do you guys,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same for you, but I feel like the times with the most struggle and hardship and where you like face the worst, most negative emotions become the best memories and stories to tell. And if anything, it also just sets the bar for what you're able to do. You're like, holy shit, if I could
can
do
do
that,
that. Yeah.
I can go through it again. You know what I mean? I handled it fine.
Yeah.
If anything, you'll handle it better.
Yeah.
If you know what
and
I
I'm
mean?
already planning for another one this year. So I don't know why I
Yeah.
do this, but
Are we
I
gonna
guess.
get invited?
Oh, please. Please. Last
Okay, you take it.
Let's
we fight
go.
for it. No, I'm
What would
kidding.
you say to the little girls who want to be as successful as you?
Oh, the little girls.
I guess, for me was to just keep the passion and the discipline, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've had the good fortune to really do this for like at least 17 years.
Wow.
So it's a long time doing the same thing, but always pivoting and always, creating new content.
Yeah.
And still keeping it alive.
Yeah.
So it's really true discipline.
And what's a common question that someone younger has asked you?
Well, I think they find it very hard to penetrate through this industry.
Yep.
Because first, it's already male dominated. You need to go out, find new skill sets. You need to work in kitchens first, and Singapore just doesn't have that system where it's there are many schools you can choose.
Yeah.
There are a few, but not many. But now it's getting better for sure. There's a lot more new pastry shops and F&B. But I would say that is one of the most challenging things for a young entrepreneur who want to come out, and it's extremely expensive right now.
Yes.
When I started, I think it was a lot easier.
Yeah.
I can't imagine now. I mean, everything has just risen.
I think for me, I always tell my audience to stay in school, stay vigilant, play smart. Don't hang out with the people that you don't want to become.
Right.
Choose the right friends. I think for my industry, it's a lot on personality based. So I would always advise them to be real. You don't have to be super real. You just have to be real. Like you don't
be true to
fake.
yourself.
Yeah, be true to yourself as much as you can. Maybe amp up your personality online, but like you have to be a good person first, especially for social media. There's enough snakes and like a lot of backstabbing and not nice things going on. Just don't be a part of that.
Right.
Like it might be a shortcut to like success, but it's not worth it in the long term. You harm yourself, you harm people around you, you harm your team. Anything can happen in this industry. Little girls, stay in school, be smart, take your time to find out who you are,
Stay away from a-holes.
and stay away from assholes. Yes, that's right.
For me, I'm really glad because my whole life I was a little bit like punk rock attitude. I was like, I don't want to conform. I'm going to question everything everyone says to me. I'm never going to trust anybody, you know what I mean? Or like
Little
make
baddie.
it too easy. But I feel like I stuck it out, and it's come to the point like really I've given up a lot of opportunity for the sake of sticking to my principle, Where at the time I sometimes questioned and was like, man, was that straight up stupid of me? Should I just have bowed down and like just taken it? But now as I've grown up, grown older, achieved what I have, I'm like, man, it was the best decision I could have ever made. And that was actually the turning point for me learning to love myself.
You know, stick to who you are. That's
sure.
probably the better
Being disciplined.
decision. Yeah, and staying
Find your own
consistent.
process.
You know, I was posting like 8 videos a day, every day for like 3
That's
years.
wild.
Okay,
I'm struggling to
Do
do
it.
one a week. Jeez.
We're in the same boat. Yeah.
8 a day. Oh my goodness.
that was at my peak, really, for 2 years straight.
That's pretty. I mean,
insane.
that's pretty cool. It's cool you're
a
able
job.
to do that.
That's a full-time job.
Yeah.
We can cut ourselves some slack.
I feel you. I feel you.